Thanks again for joining the Law Office of Don Dennis. This presentation will discuss privacy policies. The video you are about to see is rated R for real and not PG for playing games. The sole purpose of this video is for educational purposes, and no attorney-client relationship has been formed with you, the viewer, and our office unless there is a signed written agreement in place. Today, I plan to drop some mind grenades on you concerning internet privacy policies and the implications of them. To give you a little bit of information about me, my name is Don Dennis. I am a Los Angeles-based attorney that focuses on intellectual property and internet law. I obtained my Bachelor of Science degree from Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois, and my Juris Doctor degree from the UCLA School of Law in Los Angeles, California. At UCLA, I specialized in business law and policy. But besides having an educational background, what's most important is the fact that since the age of 15, I've operated my own businesses. I've put out goods and marketed services, so I know what it's like to be up late at night preparing to make sure you make the right marketing proposal to a client, preparing a product to make sure it comes out right for a customer, and also managing employees at the same time trying to maximize revenue and minimize liability so that you can remain in business and your business history doesn't become a mystery. My goal today is that you leave this presentation feeling like the law was made plain to you. So whether you wear a white collar, blue collar, or no collar, I want you to walk away with a firm understanding of our topic. The internet is a place that people transact business with you and they don't really care about your whereabouts. It's a humongous network of information where people conduct business 365 days a year, unless, of course, we have a leap year. Let me give you an example of how privacy is important. Let's say you went to the store to buy something, and as you got to the counter, you decided to pay with a credit card, and the clerk looks at your card, looks at the bill and says, "Hey, can I see your ID?" And you say, "Well, why do you want to see my ID?" And the clerk says, "It's to protect you." So you say, "Okay, well, that's a great reason. If it's to protect me, you can certainly see my ID." So the clerk looks at it, compares it to the credit card, records a little bit of information in the computer, hands back your ID and credit card to you and your receipt, and you're on about your way. But let's say, for example, that she accidentally misplaces some of that material. And unbeknownst to her, some of the other customers coming along in line grasp that material or write down some of your information, some of this personal identifiable information. Or let's say she put the information down next to her cash register somewhere and it got misplaced and someone stole it. Now, what if, on the other hand, you didn't pay with a credit card, but you paid with a check? And you know how when you write a check, sometimes they look at your ID and other information and they make notes on the check. And that information got misplaced or got stolen and it fell into the hands of someone else. Do you think you'd be mad about that? What if someone took it and used your information to make charges to your account that you didn't authorize? What if it just was laid out vacant for people just to view as they wish and they shared it with other people? What I have described to you is the reason why consumers want their personal identifiable information protected. Now let's imagine the same scenario taking place online. How fast could your information be shared with millions of people, if not just thousands, all over the world? It could be posted online, such as on Facebook or Instagram, reposted on Twitter, or shared through video on Skype. What would happen to your business if for some reason you misplaced this information or things got out of your control? Obviously, you can anticipate the customer suing you. Being sued by someone that you transacted business with online is kind of like going into a surprise party. Imagine it's your birthday and a friend of yours, puts a blindfold on you and guides you into the house. You know, you're thinking, hey, it's my birthday. I expect some presents. I expect something good to come about with this. But as you come into the house and you take the blindfold off, instead of a bunch of friends or relatives presenting you with gifts, all these unknown process servers present you with summons and complaints, suing you for breach of privacy issues. That's one possible repercussion of this. In addition, the customer whose information was stolen is going to promptly call the credit card company and want the payment stopped, want fraudulent charges reversed, and want a new card issued out to you. Credit card companies, for having to go through all of this, having to reissue cards, having to refund money, oftentimes sue the company who caused the breach in the first place. In addition, most recently, there have been several lawsuits where charges weren't necessarily rang up on a person's account, but over the mere fact that a breach occurred. If enough customers' information have been breached by your company and its online website platform, in certain states, such as the state of California, you have to file a notice and describe the entire event to the California Attorney General's office, and they likely will investigate the matter. Regardless of what a store or company tells you, regardless of what data encryption companies claim that they have in place on their website, any website or online store can be hacked. Think about it. Just a few months ago, the White House computers were hacked, and they're saying possibly some foreign countries did it. But does it really matter to the consumer who took their information as opposed to the fact that it was taken? The bottom line is people want accountability, and you want to make sure that your website is in the best position to protect itself in the event of a breach. With respect to designing a website privacy policy, there are a few important issues that you must take into account. Some people say, hey, I'll just leave it to my website designer or my graphic artist, and I'll let them put it together. I mean, look, he or she puts these websites out every day and knows exactly how they should look. Well, an important distinction is that that privacy policy is an agreement between you and the customer. And as an agreement, for it to be an enforceable contract, it must adhere to contract law. Therefore, your offer to provide a good or service has to be accepted along with the terms of your offer and finalized with the consideration. So if the website designer doesn't know how to properly word that contract, what's the purpose of him putting it together in the first place? Most contracts on websites are what we call browse wrap agreements, which means that, the information is there. If you agree to browse over it as a customer, then you accept it and you've done business with us. However, most courts say that this is not an agreement that's enforceable because the customer never had actual notice that it existed. Think about it. How many customers that are buying something scroll to the bottom of a website, which are where most agreements such as terms of use or privacy policies are located, click them, and then read through all of the fine print? I would suffice to say very few. In addition, there is other important information that you have to disclose within your privacy policy on your website. For example, you have to identify the type of information from a consumer that you will collect. Laws often term this as personal identifiable information, which includes first and last name, a phone number, a physical address, an email address, or anything that allows the business to identify you. Things of this nature must be disclosed to the consumer. Also, the law is steadily evolving concerning privacy and concerning notification. So just because a consumer initially agreed to your privacy policy, if because of changes in the law you have to modify that policy, you are attempting to create a new contract with that existing consumer or a new consumer. And in order to have a modified contract, it has to be accepted by the consumer. So you have to have a way to ensure that the consumer has read it and agreed to it. Furthermore, the law is extremely concerned with children's privacy rights. So if you do business or transact with a child, or a child goes on your website and buys a mobile app or a video game or anything of that nature, you have to ensure that you're protecting that child's privacy. And lastly, you have to disclose how exactly you're going to share data that you collect if you plan on sharing it. Sometimes companies decide to share information that they have with affiliate companies and with others for advertising and marketing purposes. What are the consequences of being on the internet? Being on the internet is like kids playing around on their Sea-Doos or on boats at a lake. Here, not far from Los Angeles, we have Lake Havasu. And back when I was younger, oftentimes we'd go out to the lake on Sea-Doos and race and have fun and do flips and all type of things out in the middle of the water. However, what you would quickly find out is if you get to playing around too much or your behavior seems a bit reckless, the sheriffs will pull up next to you and issue you a ticket, remove you from the water, or you could possibly face imprisonment if your behavior repeats and continues on. If problems occur on your website and customers' information is stolen and the authorities do not like the way in which you continue to operate that website, the same thing can occur. You can be fined, your website can be taken down, and you can face other consequences because of your reckless behavior. Now, what are some solutions? I suggest that you hire an attorney that is skilled and focuses on this area of law. Oftentimes today, people want to be a Google attorney. What's a Google attorney? A Google attorney is someone that says, hey, whatever I need to find out, I'll type it in Google, look it up, and get a solution. Well, if all you needed to do was be a Google attorney and you could practice law, then the game is over. Let's spike the ball and close down all the law schools. But what a good attorney, well, better yet, what a great attorney can do is he can not only identify information pertinent to your business, but look at the cases that have analyzed that information and give you an idea how your contract will be interpreted in a court of law if it was ever subject to a dispute. If you're going on a plane trip somewhere important, you wouldn't trust your life to a pilot that's drunk. So why trust the life of your business to an attorney that doesn't focus on internet law and focus on making businesses like yours successful? Interacting with people online is business, not friendship. Honest people have no problem putting things in writing, and intelligent people hire the law office of Don Dennis to ensure it's done correctly.